Gian, and I'm from Emancipate Indonesia, a youth organization focusing on modern slavery and young workers. And I would be the host and MC for today and the next 2 days. Brothers and sisters, on behalf of the organizers, the Trade Union Rights Center, or TURC, it is my pleasure to welcome you, all of you, to DGB BW Asia Partners Regional Workshop 2021, a regular workshop to exchange views on strategies for promoting youth and women leadership in the trade union movement and have integrated shared learning between partners of DGB BW project. This year, brothers and sisters, our theme is Trade Union Solidarity in Pandemic Times, considering how the COVID-19 pandemic has drastically changed the way we interact and communicate with one another, and how it has challenged us all, especially the workers and trade unions, in carrying out our duty to protect laborers in the world at all costs. Therefore, brothers and sisters, we are here because we have hope. Through this series of discussions, all participants will be able to gain knowledge and exchange experiences in understanding the context of labor issues in these pandemic times, especially more on the role of women and young workers in the trade union. And brothers and sisters, before we start this event, I would like to remind you to fill the attendance form with a scan of a QR code that you see beside me here, and that is also shown on the screen, or you can click on the link below in the chat box. So, brothers and sisters, let us begin this event with a warm welcome from Brother Andrico Otang, the Executive Director of TURC. Brother Otang, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Brother Gian. Thank you, Brother Gian. Hi, hello, good afternoon. Greetings to everyone. The Honorable Sisters Tanya Sinterwolf, on behalf of DGB Bildungswerks Germany, the Honorable Trade Union leaders of DGB Bildungswerks partners in Asia, especially Sister Shakshi Agarwal and colleges from BWI, Building and Woodworkers International, based in India, Brother Amirul Haq Amin and colleges from BILS, Bangladesh Institute of Labor Studies in Bangladesh, Sister Anna and Brother Dom, and colleges from ITUC AP, International Trade Union Confederations Asia Pacific, Sister Shantaben, and colleges from IASEW, Indian Self-Employed Women Associations, Brother Ian, Brother Kanan, Nico and Dennis, colleges from PSI AP, Public Sector International Asia Pacific, Sister Sonia and colleges from SLD, Society for Labor and Development based in India, and Sister Sunzida, Sister Rokea and colleges from Karmo Bidari, KN, Bangladesh, and Sister Lam and colleges from VGCL, Vietnam General Confederations of Labor based in Vietnam. And the Honorable Miss Indira Gottenberg, Regional Consultant of DGB Bildungswerks in Asia, and my respectful to all participants of the regional workshop. On behalf of Trade Union Rights Center, it gives me immense warmth and great pleasure to all of your presence. It gives a tremendous pleasure to me to give the welcome speech amongst the most esteemed personalities, trade union leaders, TUSOs, GSO, who have been a great knowledge and experience in their respective fields. Before we begin this regional workshop, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to to all of you who have sincerely committed to this event to make it a success. I would like to give my special thanks to my colleagues, Ms. Dinda Zakiyah Wahid and her team for their great efforts to make it this regional event with a hybrid method can happen. I believe that this event would have been impossible without the support of each and everyone present here in the regional workshop of DGB Bildungswerks Partners in Asia 2021 with the theme Trade Union Solidarity in the Pandemic Time. As we already know, the COVID-19 pandemic has shown a dramatic challenge and devastating impact of the crisis on workers and their families, the surge in violations of trade union rights, the loss of members, and a hostile environment towards trade unions, such as political repressions, snuffing out democratic dissents by authoritarian regime, and decimations of the rights of workers and trade unions in many Asian countries. The above challenges have not been resolved, but the government in various countries in Asia are putting additional pressure on reforming labor laws, reforming the existing labor laws, using the economic crisis as an excuse to promote flexibility labor market and reduce the standard of protections of workers' rights. We are aware that crisis situations often trigger transformative changes, such as what happened during the financial crisis that occurred in Asia in 2008. Yet the Asian's financial crisis also gave international financial institutions and employers an exceptional opportunity to roll back labor laws that partially shielded workers from the market turmoil, as Karawai mentions in 2009. It applied in the Indonesian's context as well at the moment. The government has just carried out structural legal reforms with the enactment of the Indonesian's Omnibus Law on Job Creation, Law number 11/2020, which removed vital labor rights protections and puts workers in particular in a vulnerable position. Despite those devastating impacts, I believe that trade unions have stood their ground and helped to better protect workers and their jobs around the world. The labor movement does not stop. The struggle carries on even stronger than before. Trade unions are spearheading the struggle, rapidly adapting and creating new strategies to protect the rights of workers, increasing their organizing efforts and memberships, and converging with other right-based social movements to bring about social and political changes. There are any urgent needs for trade unions to develop a new strategies to address the challenge of achieving a job-rich recovery, reducing decent work deficit, strengthening occupational safety and health system, reaching comprehensive universal social protections for all, and gender equality in the world of work. In tackling these issues, the COVID-19 pandemic could be an opportunity for trade union revitalizations to contribute to the effective design and implementations of a robust and inclusive recovery strategy. So, seeing this context, TURC, Trade Union Rights Center, is glad to facilitate a series of discussions, activities in the upcoming 3 days, aimed at recognizing the good work of the trade unionists in Asia. We would like to discuss projections of the trade union movement in Asia for the future through sharing sessions of potentially applicable good practices that influence the trade union movement for the future. We also would like to sharing learning the way how to strengthen our solidarity among labor movement in Asia, in particular among the DGB Bildungswerks partners. So last but not least, I hope you can all actively participate in this regional workshop and enjoy the discussions. Thank you, and in solidarity. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the warm welcome, Brother Otang. Brothers and sisters, please give another virtual round of applause for Brother Otang. Well, brothers and sisters, Coming up next, may I invite Sister Tanya Schindewolf, the Program Manager of Asia DGB BW Germany, to deliver her welcome speech. Sister Tanya, the screen is yours.
Good morning from Germany, dear participants, dear project partners, sisters and brothers. On behalf of the DGB Bildungswerk, I send to you our solidarity greetings, and I would also like to welcome you to the first virtual regional workshop of the DGB BW Asia project running from 2019 to 2021. I would like to especially thank the Trade Union Rights Center, the whole team, for the preparation of this workshop, as well as the speakers, moderators, singers, and artists who will contribute to the workshop during the next days. When we first came together in 2019 in Jakarta, nobody of us could have imagined that 2 years later we would meet again in such a setting. Digitalization has made it possible to meet and to discuss with each other, even though we are far away from each other. The pandemic has hit us hard, and especially the world of work. Defending workers' rights has become even more challenging. So during the last 1.5 years, we could follow you how hard you try to support the workers in your region. You try to stay in touch with them and still try to implement your projects under very restrictive conditions, and this very impressed us. With this regard, we will also get more first detailed insights about your project successes from the presentation of the external evaluators on our last workshop day. In this context, on behalf of my team, I would also like to thank you for constantly keeping in touch with us and updating us on your current situation in your countries. I'm very excited about the next days, and I'm looking forward to learning more about how especially the young and women workers try to defend trade unionism and workers' rights in Asia during these times. With these words, I would like to close my short welcome remarks, and I wish us very fruitful discussions, and I'm also looking forward to the musical and artistic accompanying program in this workshop. Thank you.
Thank you once again for your speech. Brothers and sisters, let us give another virtual round of applause for Sister Tanya. Brothers and sisters, now let us move to see who is present among us in today's event. Well, it is very encouraging to see many organizations are so excited to join this event. I will now let the project managers from DGB BW Asia Project Partners to do a short round of introduction to let the other participants know who are coming with you today. I will start with TURC. You have 2 minutes to introduce yourself and the team, and Sister Dinda, you may unmute your mic, introduce yourself and your colleagues. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Gian, for giving me the time to introduce myself and the team now. Hi, everyone. My name is Dinda Wahid. I'm the project manager for the GB project in TURC. Now I am coming almost with the full team of TURC. I'm so happy that they are here with me. We have Brother Otang, who just gave the welcoming speech to all of you. And then we also have Sister Siti, Sister Novi, Sister Nadia, Sister Fania, Sister Nur, Sister Kiki, Brother Angga, Sister Dina, Brother Wayan, Sister Ruli, Brother Wawan, and also Sister Armel joining us here today. And we are very happy to host the event for you. I hope you can enjoy all the discussions, and it's really nice to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Dinda. Coming up next, we have Sister Sakshi from BWI. Sister Sakshi, screen is yours.
Hello everyone. So good afternoon from India and good morning to Tanya. So from BWI, we have Sister Parul. She's the project accountant for the DGB BW project. Besides that, we have participants from our project partners. We have Rahul from UPGMS. We have Sister Hemlata from UPGMS, Brother Mohit from CLU, and also Sister Durga from NAC. And I think people will be joining as well. So yeah, thank you. And I'm really looking forward to the discussions and learning. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sister Sakshi. Coming up next, we have Brother Pahari from Bills. Brother, the screen is yours.
Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone, the host and the participants of this protest program. We have with us project related persons from Bales Director Nasma Yasmin with us. We have Mr. Amarul Akabin with us. We have Brother A.M. Nazimuddin, Chairman Bills LRSC. We have Brother Rizwan Rahman Khan, Senior Officer Bills LRSC. Me, Pahari Bhattacharjee, and also we have with us Sister Tamanna Binte Azad. She is a youth core team member and participant from trade union with DGBW activities in Chittagong and Bangladesh. Thank you all.
Thank you, Brother Pahari. Coming up next, we have Sister Anna from ITUC AP. Sister Anna, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. What a great afternoon it is. I'm happy to see some members of the ITC AP Women's Committee participating from Bangladesh and a sister from Fiji at this time, which is pretty late in Fiji. We also have members of the ITC AP DGB project management team with me, with Dom, Ross, and some participants, women and youth participants from the Philippines. Happy to be part of this event.
Thank you, Sister Anna. Next, we have Brother Purushottam from SLD.
Hi everyone, good afternoon and good morning to Tanya. Unfortunately, I'm the only one attending this workshop today from Society for Labour and Development India, because Miss Sonia have fallen sick. Sorry.
Coming up next, we have Brother Kanan and Bro Nico, or Bro Dennis, and Bro Ian from PSI AP.
Hi, I'm Dennis from PSI South Asia, Program Coordinator for the DGB Young Workers Project. We have Sister Marmel Cadera and Brother Nico from Southeast Asia, and me from South Asia. And I give apologies for Brother Shubham because he's on a strike and is not able to attend. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. And coming up next, we have Sister Hyati and Sister Tandapten from IASEW. Is Sister Hyati here?
No, she is not there. No.
Oh, okay. Then, and Santaben, do we have Santaben here?
Yes. नमस्ते सभी को देखकर बड़ी खुशी हो रही है। पुराने सारे दोस्त यहाँ पर मिल जाते हैं डीजीबी के वर्कशॉप में, रीजनल वर्कशॉप में। तो मैं सभी का इंडियन एकेडमी की तरफ से हार्दिक स्वागत करती हूँ और अभिनंदन भी देती हूँ कि डीजीबी ने एक ऐसी शुरुआत की है कि वर्षों बरस हम एक साथ रहते हैं, भले काम हो या ना हो हमारे पास, लेकिन फिर भी एकजुट हमको रखता है डीजीबी। तो उसके लिए डीजीबी को इंडियन एकेडमी की तरफ से बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया और सभी को नमस्ते फिर से। यहाँ पर इंडियन एकेडमी की तरफ से मैं और सुनीति बेन हूँ और मैं फिलहाल इंडियन एकेडमी की कोऑर्डिनेटर हूँ और सेवा की सेक्रेटरी हूँ।
Thank you, sister.
सुनीति बेन आप भी दे दीजिए।
Coming up next, we have Sister Indira from DGB.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Very nice to be here. I'm the Asia Regional Consultant for DGB Bildungswerk, and Tinda has been spearheading this whole DGB Bildungswerk Regional Workshop. It would have been great to meet you all in person, but here we are. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, brothers and sisters. That was the introduction session. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're very happy to have you all with us. And now, before we proceed the event, brothers and sisters, just like organizing in the grassroots, of course, we do have to abide several set of rules. And let me just explain the rules for you that we will abide together today and the next 2 days. First, you may turn on and turn off your camera as you like. And second, please change your name with the format name-organization. The third one, please mute your audio when other sessions are in progress. The next one, please type any questions in the Q&A box. And then the next one is you may give stickers to express your feelings about the discussion. So brothers and sisters, feel free to throw any emoji in the chat box or in your Zoom account. And last but not least, don't forget to fill up the attendance form because we might need some proof that you were there with us. So brothers and sisters, our first agenda today is the panel session about trade unions' existence amid the pandemic, where this is the session that we would discuss how the trade unions, especially in Asia, are facing this pandemic through building collective power, maximizing social dialogue for the trade unions, and of course, maintaining solidarity together. And this session will be led by Brother Shoya Yoshida, Secretary General from ITUC AP. And brothers and sisters, I would like to also remind you all here to mute the audio during the presentation. Should you have any questions, please type your questions in the Q&A box. Before we start, brothers and sisters, let us watch a short video about the session. Here it is.
For decades, unions have played an important role in voicing changes to better worker protections through campaign and advocacy efforts by influencing public policy and mass mobilization. In the current COVID-19 pandemic, trade unions are faced with a back-breaking situation, not only because of the economic crisis at the global level, but also the number of lives lost due to being victims of this pandemic. Trade unions have experienced a reduction in the number of members and have difficulty doing advocacy work due to all the limitations arising from the pandemic. Faced with this situation, of course, trade unions did not stand still. Trade unions and labor organizations have begun to think of ways to continue to protect and support workers. In moments like this, trade unions must be responsive to the lessons that workers face during the pandemic. One of the most important lessons is to build more concrete collective action to achieve the desired workers' protection. Promoting social dialogue remains one of the primary strategies from the trade unions in building collective action. Subsequently, the involvement of trade unions in the national recovery agenda can also help the government to find more appropriate and inclusive solutions to deal with the pandemic. Therefore, trade unions must also possess a strong labor movement that also contributes to address the economic, social, and environmental issues. Although the COVID-19 pandemic has not ended, trade unions have shown great tenacity to always be the leading driving force in creating, maintaining, and strengthening solidarity among workers during COVID-19. For instance, engage with more employment stakeholders for securing jobs, especially related to social security access. Providing more support for the unemployed in the crisis, including financial relief program for families in a lot of stress. Improving occupational health and safety in the workplace, including mental health support. Developing more innovative and creative capacity building activities, skills and knowledge enrichment for workers and trade union members, including digital literacy. Promoting gender equality and involving more young workers in trade unions by recognizing the opportunity to include new groups of workers. Now, it is the time for us to act together in solidarity and build a world of work based on equality and dignity.
Brothers and sisters, without further ado, let us give the warmest welcome to Brother Shoya Yoshida.
Sorry. Thank you very much for the opportunity today. So I'm Shoya Yoshida, General Secretary of the ITUC Asia Pacific, and I just like to express my heartfelt respect and also congratulations to those who have been involved in this DGB BW project. So I like to share my screen. Now can you all see my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So since I was given 25 minutes, to present, what I think about trade union agenda, particularly during, this COVID-19 pandemic for 25 minutes. But I try to my best, to allocate sufficient time for the following question and answering session. So COVID-19 has brought new urgency to the choice before us. Even before the pandemic, solidarity had dwindled in many societies. Governance has become more difficult against the backdrop of a heightened sense of unfairness. There's a growing disconnect between people and the institutions that serve them, with many people feeling left behind and no longer confident that the system is working for them or for us. There has been questioning of how we share our societies and this fragile planet, of the fundamental ties that connect us, and of how we engage with those who disagree, who feel unjustly treated, or who feel excluded. Last month, at the 76th session of the United Nations General Assembly, Secretary General presented his own report, and he stressed that we urgently need a renewed social contract. The COVID-19, this pandemic clearly demonstrates and further exacerbate vulnerability of our region, destroying jobs, enterprises, and livelihood, throwing billions of workers and their families into poverty. According to the analysis of the ILO, in 2020, 8.8% of global working hours were lost relative to the fourth quarter of 2019, which is equivalent to 255 million full-time jobs, which were 4 times greater than during the global financial crisis in 2008 or 2009. In monetary terms, global labor income fell by an estimated 3.7 million US dollar in 2020 relative to 2019. This corresponds to 44% of global GDP in 2019, while it was reported that the world billionaires, their collective wealth increased by staggering 3.9 trillion US dollar only between March and December last year. So COVID-19 is a true test for global community on whether we could spare the values that we have been promoting in the past centuries, such as equality, democracy, solidarity, what else, and social justice. And this pandemic must be turned to be an opportunity for government, business, and trade unions to reinvigorate the social contract. Even before the outbreak of COVID-19 and well before the UN chief began to stress a social contract, the ITUC appealed that the social contract must be reinvigorated as a statement, Congress statement, which was adopted at the ITUC Fourth World Congress in December 2018 in Copenhagen. It committed ourselves to strive for social justice with a new social contract. Then, what is a social contract? Social contract need to evolve to respond to changing circumstances. Let me quote from the report of ILO Global Commission on Future Work, which was published in January 2019. Faced with global challenges such as technological transformation, industrial transformation, climate changes, and many others that have direct and indirect impact on the world of work, forging the new path requires committed action on the part of government as well as employers and workers' organizations. They need to reinvigorate a social contract that gives working people a just share of economic progress, respect for their right and the protection against risk in return for their continuing contributions to the economy. Social dialogue can play a key role in ensuring the relevance of this contract to managing the changes underway when all the actors in the world of work participate fully, including the many millions of workers who are currently excluded. Okay, so how? So in the current pandemic situation, we have learned that how easily so many workers who have lost their jobs for only a month cannot afford to pay for children's education, housing, and food, and how fragile a nation's development if relying excessively on demand from global supply chains. So this is not the COVID-19 crisis, but the crisis of decent work deficit. Even before the pandemic, millions of workers lived in extremely poverty and more than 1 billion were in precarious employment in the region of Asia and the Pacific. Youth employment was persistently very high. Women has been remaining disadvantaged in the labor market by a high gender pay gap. As I said earlier, the current crisis must be an opportunity to negotiate a new social contract. But we don't have to start anything totally new. We just need to make sure that the paradigm shift keeps going in the direction of an inclusive and sustainable growth, which we have been following for the last 13 years since the previous financial crisis. The ITUC has set out 5 key demands from workers and their families to build recovery and resilience, putting people at the center of the social contract that are jobs, right, thirdly, social protection, fourth, equality, and fifth, inclusion. These are the demands that the trade union movement, international trade union movement, has been advocating for a long time, more than a century. So let's look at these 5 demands one by one. I hope now, sorry. Are you seeing the new PowerPoint entitled Our Common Agenda? Sorry. Yeah, okay, yeah. So first, jobs. Above all, we must make sure that the highest priority is given to jobs. Years of ill-guided austerity measures or policies and cut in public spending, coupled with privatization of public services, have undermined countries' capacity to adequately tackle the crisis. We need more investment into health, education, and other quality public services. A systematic and timely social spending in case of an economic crisis can maintain a certain level of domestic consumption. So we need higher negotiated wages. We need higher statutory minimum living wages to improve living standard of workers and their families, and to boost the domestic and personal demand. Also, jobs must be climatically friendly, particularly since the Industrial Revolution in mid-18th century. Traces of human economic activities have been increasingly covering the overall surface of the earth. There are roads, buildings, riverbeds, bridges, and farmland. If you look at the sea, you will find a lot of marine plastic trash. Carbon dioxide continue to increase. No matter where you go, human activities seems to overshadow all the surface of the earth. This is not an epoch where human can freely control and manipulate the earth. On the contrary, we are witnessing various natural phenomena that humans cannot control. A prime example of this is COVID-19. If we do not take action now, problems such as water shortages and the food crisis will get worse, definitely. Biodiversity will be lost, and many places will no longer be a place where humans can live in. In the past, mainstream idea was to grow the economy, develop technology, and use these technology to overcome the crisis. However, we need now a new normal to create jobs to achieve both resilient and sustainable growth and sufficient carbon dioxide reductions in time. So we need more and better jobs. This can be realized only through and based on social dialogue. So government and employer and workers' organizations, trade unions must jointly work together to design and deliver a brighter future of post-COVID-19 world of work. Second, right for all workers. The ILO Centenary Declaration for the Future of Work, which was adopted by the tripartite constituent in 2019, reaffirmed the continued relevance of the employment relations as a means of providing certainty and legal protection to all workers. The Centenary Declaration of the ILO commit government and social partners to guarantee, first, respect for fundamental rights at work, most importantly, freedom of association and the right to collective bargaining. Second, an adequate minimum living wage. Third, maximum limit on working hours. Fourth, safety and health at work. The COVID-19 pandemic has exposed workers, and in particular those in frontline services, medical and health services, to a risk of infection at work, alongside other associated hazards, led to the closure of many workplaces and significant losses in working hours and income, with devastating effect on employment and economy. That the International Labour Conference next year will discuss the possible inclusion of safety and health in the ILO's framework of fundamental principle and right at work, in addition to the four areas of the fundamental labor standard. So these rights should be respected and applied to any group of workers, including those in the informal economy, platform businesses, global supply chain, and any others. Social protection is a fundamental human right. It has been almost 10 years since the United Nations endorsed the ambition for universal social protection based on the Bachelet report drafted made by the former Chilean President, Sister Bachelet, entitled Social Protection Floor for Fair and Inclusive Globalization. And SDGs 1.3 also commit to implementing social protection floors for all. However, unfortunately, less than half of the world population have access to any forms of social protection, and less than 1/3 of world population benefit from comprehensive system in line with international labor standards, leaving the vast majority of the world people unprotected in times of need. The ITUC and the ITUC Asia Pacific recently published the survey in April last year, a survey including a review of government responses to COVID-19 with particular focus on wage protection and income support. While the higher number of the government in Asia Pacific were providing wage protection and income support than in Africa or Americas, 64% far more than majority say this is not enough to cover essential costs. The 64% among all the respondents, in Asia Pacific. The ITUC is calling for support for global fund for universal social protection for the poorest countries to support healthcare and income support, and for the IMF for the International Monetary Fund to coordinate fiscal stimulus, issue additional special drawing right SDRs, set up trust fund into which advanced economy can reallocate their holding of SDRs and earmark the trust fund for public health, social protection, and jobs, so that the IMF fund could serve as a global fund for universal social protection. Equality. The effect of the COVID-19 are being felt disproportionately by the poor and workers, and the COVID-19 disruption is playing out along the lines of class, gender, and wealth, and revealing a system that proves inequality. So what we are facing with is not the COVID-19 crisis. So it is a systematic crisis. We all must work together to end all discrimination, to ensure that all people can share in prosperity, and that apparent concentration of wealth in the hand of a few at the expense of the many is ended in a very soon near future. Last, inclusion. We need to strengthen inclusion of development and growth to combat the growing power of monopolies, ensure that the developing country can actually develop their own economies, and guarantee tax system that provides the income vital for government to meet the need of their own people. An inclusive approach to tackling COVID-19 pandemic is paramount, both in terms of economic support as well as universal access to testing, treatment, and vaccines. The revelation in the World Health Organization WHO statement a few weeks ago that only 20% of people in low and low middle income countries will have been vaccinated against COVID-19 by the end of this year. Only 20%. This report is a scandal of epic proportions, while around more than 80% of people in high and upper middle income countries have already received the first vaccine. So this represents a monumental failure that could have been avoided and must be fixed without any further delay. So many lives will continue to be lost. Many will fall sick in countries that lack adequate healthcare provision. Livelihood will continue to be disrupted, and it adds enormously to the potential for few variants of concern to emerge. So US $10 billion has been raised to date by the COVAX facility through which countries can access vaccine supplies, while 9 COVID-19 billionaires have amassed a total of 19 billion US dollar between them. So another 8 existing billionaire investors in COVID vaccine production have increased their wealth by a total of 32 billion US dollars. So along with vaccines, less wealthy or poor countries need more COVID testing capacity, including rapid testing, more medical and personal protective equipment, including the facial masks, and more healthcare workers. The world needs a greater emphasis on prevention, and we must build resilience for this and the future pandemic. So this is the last part of my presentation. What time is now? 50. Yeah, okay. The new social contract can be only achieved through the well-functioning social dialogue. To this end, trade unions need to mobilize workers' power for workers' voices to be more effectively reflected in the public policies. Trade unions, we can be stronger only based on stronger membership. So trade union must reach those who are traditionally difficult to organize, including workers engaged in more networked and mobile production and services, gig economy, platform economy, and also those engaged in the informal economy, as well as women, youth, migrants, and older workers. Also, trade union must engage with people in general beyond industrial democracy or industrial relations or social dialogue with government and businesses. We must reach to the people in the communities in general. So we must hear people's voices at the workplaces and in communities, hold discussions with people who have different ideas, consider better policies for solving problems together with various stakeholders, business, government, and other group of the society, and convey these policies effectively to employers, government, and the society as a whole. So the trade union movement is always striving for social justice and fight against injustice. The meaning of social justice differs depending on time and places. Nevertheless, in any age, in any place, people never stop speaking out against things that are not right. Working people always speak out about various issues when they have dissatisfaction with their work or lives, and they appeal to society with whatever strengths they have or method available to them. And the trade unions is one of most effective means available to workers. So even if they meet great difficulties, society slowly begins to resonate with our demand, causing the nation or corporation to take action. So as long as there are people who think about what forms, what kind of society they want, what they would like to have, and consider it important to work ceaselessly towards the realization of such a society, the trade unions must provide a place for these people. So I stop here, and I would very much welcome any comment or any questions from the colleague. Thank you very much. Over to you, the brother.
Thank you, Brother Soya Yoshida, for the presentation. A very great presentation and very fruitful one. And now we are actually on the question and answer session. But before that, let us give another virtual round of applause for Brother Soya. All right, brothers and sisters, now we are in the Q&A session. And of course, I would like to read 3 questions that are already picked and prepared from the chat box for Brother Soya. So Brother Soya, I will read it to you one by one and you may answer the questions. All right, Brother Soya, you're still with us? Yes? Okay, great. So, Brother Soya, we have several questions here. And as I said before, I would like to read it to you one by one, and maybe you can answer it one by one because we have so many excited participants here about your session. Okay, now, the first question, Brother Soya, is quite interesting. So someone asked about this. If we are facing the impartiality of labor law, what strategy can trade unions do to better integrate our voice so we can still ensure labor rights are not being eroded? So, Brother Soya, you may answer the question.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. I have observed in many countries, particularly in the last few years, many of the government has been carrying out policies that their people don't want. But their government are elected by the people of their own countries. Why? The government is many of the government, have carrying out policies that their people don't want, because the democracy doesn't work. Even in the most democratic procedure, which is election, and trade unions is the biggest democratic organization. So in many countries, from the rich country, Japan, Australia, to the poor countries, Bangladesh, Nepal, working people stand the majority of the people in our countries. In Japan, more than 60% are considered as workers. So trade unions must make democracy work. How? First, we trade union must be more representative by increasing the membership. Another option, as I already mentioned, just to listen to the voices, not only voices of your members, but also voices of workers and the peoples in general, at workplaces, in communities. In many countries, trade unions do have some status, say consultative status with the government. Please, trade union must utilize this status. Of course, in many countries, trade unions and trade union leaders are still subject to the attack of the government. In such a case, please use your affiliation to the international trade unions and also the framework of the ILO. For example, of course, they criticize it takes time. But for example, in the case of forced labor in Myanmar, this case has been raised to the ILO in even late 1980s. And in the year 2000, International Labour Conference unanimously adopted the resolution to review the relationship with the Myanmar government. I mean, to ask the government, employer, and trade unions to review the relationship with the Burmese or Myanmar government. That was 2000, year 2000. And this greatly contributed to the initial stage of the democratization of Myanmar in 2012 until the February 1st of this year. So I hope I answered the first question. Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Soya, for the answer. And now maybe that was very thorough. I think it was very clear with what you answered about the first question. But then we still have 2 more questions, so we want to get the most from you in this session. Is it okay, Brother Soya? Yeah. Okay, very well. Now we go to the next question. So someone asked us, in terms of vaccination, do you have any experience in dealing with limited access to getting vaccine for workers? And what do you think that we can do as trade union representative? Brother Soya, you may answer the question.
Yeah. So let's look at the discussion at the UN Assembly in last month. Particularly the discussion in particularly plenary discussions. Many of the leaders in Malawi, leaders in Congo, leaders in Namibia, as well as leaders in the United States, America, and many of the European countries stressed international cooperation to make sure vaccine will be provided not by richness or not by the economic power of the countries. So this is agreed by the international community that the issue is how. As I reported earlier, we do have a COVAX. It's a facility. It's a framework, which was initiated by the some NGO as well as WHO, which one of the major aim of COVAX is just to ensure the fair distribution or ensure the adequate provision of the testing, treatment, and vaccine. No matter how rich you are, no matter how your country, no matter how your country is rich or poor, maybe it may take some time to make sure that, for example, all the African countries do have a sufficient provision of vaccines. But in parallel, we need to look at inequality within the country. Once sufficient amount of vaccine is provided to a country, it is ensured that the vaccine will be fairly provided among the people. This should be, to this end, the trade union do have crucial role to guarantee equality in providing vaccine within the country. Again, it can be done through social dialogue. For example, that my colleague in Nigeria directly discussed this issue with the president of Nigeria. This was about a few months ago. I haven't followed, how successful my colleague in Nigeria is, but yes, that to this end, you, or trade union, do have a crucial role. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Brother Soya, for answering the second question. So we can actually learn from many countries based on their best practices, dialogue, strategy. But in the end, we agreed healthcare, all workers deserve healthcare for all, including vaccine. All right. So the third question here, Brother Soya, and let me just also update to you. Apparently, we do have 5 questions. So everybody is very excited. I hope you don't mind answering the questions as long as we have the time. So the third question, Brother Soya, somebody asked, aggressive attitude of employers are often a great challenge for organizing. How do we solve it? You may answer the question, Brother Soya.
Yes, it's a very usual and a difficult question to answer. First, please be reminded that you have a freedom to go on strike. But to this end, you must first organize those workers in trouble, right? And you can ask your, your national center, your industrial federation for further assistance, just to make sure you organize a strike in a legal or in a legitimate way. But please don't hesitate to mobilize or to enforce your right to strike. And for example, I have been dealing with many cases where, for example, if your company in question is cross association or cross control by the parent company in a rich country, Japan, France, Germany, and the US, we can liaise you with our friend, for example, in Japan. Of course, this should be principle that industrial dispute should be settled by the workers and trade unions and enterprises in question. But we can still, further mobilize international cooperation, such as trade unions in rich countries to assist your struggle. So I refrain myself, from naming the individual cases or individual companies, but I have been dealing with many cases of such. Yeah.
Okay, Brother Soya, thank you for answering the question. I think it was very clear as well. And actually, we want to speed up the time because the time is almost run out. But we want to also give you another question, if you don't mind. So maybe this could be like the last question. We actually have apparently 6 questions, but because due to limited time, we will see. Okay, so this question actually somebody asked, what about the place where women does not get jobs or even get fired from their jobs just because they are women workers? How could we demand, alternative, maybe decent work for women in our places? Yeah, Brother Soya, you may answer the question.
Okay, thank you, brother. Before answering to this question, may I ask you just to send another remaining 3 or 4 questions, by email. Then I can send my answer or reply through the Trade Union Right Center, if it doesn't cause any big problem. Then women's workers, women still remain disadvantaged in the labor market, but not only in the labor market for wages, also in the trade union movement. We need to hear voices of women in need, in trouble. Many of the trade unions do have the women's committee for this purpose. IQCAP also does have a women's committee, but also I need to see more leaders, not relying on the gender quota. So I need to see more leaders, women leaders, in the mainstream of trade union movement. Of course, most of the leaders of our affiliate has been working best, just to reflect the women's voices into their own policies or their own priorities, and also to reflect their voices in the public policies. But let me remind you that we need hear women's voices in the trade union movement more effectively. In that sense, I really appreciate the great contribution made by those who are involved in this DGB BW project. So we, as IQC Asia Pacific, will continue our effort, to realize that more mainstreaming women or other vulnerable groups, into the mainstream of trade union movement. So I hope I answered to the very last questions.
Thank you, Brother Soya. But apparently, Brother Soya, after we check, we still have a little bit of spare of time. So we apparently, but then, at the end of the day, we have to stop the session, right? But I think you have already delivered everything very well. I think the amount of questions here that are overwhelming shows everybody's excitement for unionizing and discussing how we can move forward in the future of work, also the future of unionizing, organizing, and of course to make decent work available for all. Thank you, Brother Soya, for the Q&A session. And that was it. This was the session with our brother Soya Yoshida.
Thank you very much for all. Thank you very much.
Brothers and sisters, what a great presentation and discussion, right? Unfortunately, of course, we have to end this session because of our limited time. But once again, thank you And please give many reactions and virtual applause for Brother Soya and other speakers in this session who already shared their fruitful and amazing experiences. May we build solidarity and share experiences with all of us for the rights of workers around the globe. Brothers and sisters, before we continue to the next agenda, we would like to sincerely give an apology for missing out to call one other organization who is present today. Let me call Sister Sunzida from DGB Nari from Bangladesh to introduce yourself. Sister Sunzida, floor is yours.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon, everyone. It is okay. I am Sanjida from DGB Nari. Can you hear me?
Sister,
hello.
You can. Yes.
Hello, can
sister.
you hear me?
Yes, we can, sister.
Hello.
Yes, we can, sister.
Yes, we can.
Yes, please continue, sister. Sister Sunzida, you're still with us? Sister Sunzida, you're still with us?
Sorry.
Yes, sister?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you very clearly. Yes.
Yes. So I'm Sanjida, and I am from DGB Nari. We are started with DGB funded project in May 2020, and we are implementing a joint project with SLD India, and we are working on the seafood processing industrial workers. We are organizing the women workers of that sector, and today we 3 persons from this project are joined in this meeting. I have with Mr. Dewan Abdul Shafi and Mr. Rubel Ahmed, who are directly organizing the women in the seafood processing industrial worker. So thanks DGB and TURC for organizing such a regional meeting, good listening and learning for us. And thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Sunzida, for giving you a warm welcome. And brothers and sisters, now speaking about organizing for the rights of workers, of course, we are also talking about breaks. And now we are walking our talk. We have our health break. So brothers and sisters, we will have 10 minutes to have a break. You can use this time to go to the toilet or do some light exercise. We will be back in 10 minutes, and after the break, brothers and sisters, we will have another inspiring talks from our youth representative with the session titled Youth Leaders Defend Trade Union Freedom. So, see you in 10 minutes, brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, welcome back. We just had our break, and now, brothers and sisters, before we proceed the discussion, let us watch a little teaser video for our next session. Here it is.
Young people with their evolving mindset have given a new nuance to the dynamics of today's world of work, starting from the disruptions in a world of work pioneered by the millennial generation to the emergence of work patterns that are starting to develop and adapt to the character of young workers. Young workers are now starting to dominate the job market. However, the number of young workers joining unions is still very low. The reason for the lack of participation of young people in unions is because they do not know the importance of unionization. With the trust given to young workers to lead a change in the organization, the potential for many young people who are interested in joining the union is higher. Unions must also keep up with the trends on how best to communicate and attract the attentions of young people. The most concrete way is to use technology and social media to attract young workers into the labor union. So, what is their experience with the young workers who are now members of the union? What message will they convey to the young workers in the world?
Brothers and sisters, we are now in the next session. Inspiring talks with the theme, Youth Leaders Defend Trade Union Freedom. It is now my pleasure, brothers and sisters, to introduce our first speaker. It's Sister Marmel Caldera, who is now a secretary in the Association of Iloilo Provincial Government Employees, or AIPGE. And she is also the youth representative from PSI Philippines. Without further ado, brothers and sisters, let us hear Sister Marmel's journey on becoming the youth figure in her union. Sister Marmel, the screen is yours.
Hi everyone, I am Mel Caldera. I am the Secretary of my local union, the Association of Iloilo Provincial Government Employees, and the chairperson of its youth committee, and the youth representative of the Philippine Independent Public Sector Employees Association and Public Services International Philippines. I have been a part of my local union since 2015, and I am very humbled that with my 5-year experience of being a young unionist, I was given a chance to talk to you about how exhausting and unfulfilling it is to become a member of a group where everyone seems to talk all day about their endless dissatisfaction. Since I was 25, I have been present in front of the management in instances where echoing the concerns of our members were needed and during the negotiation process. As compared to you, my dear colleagues, who might always attend and witness negotiations and bargainings, I have only attended 3 negotiation process, and I never failed to hear the words coming from the other side of the table when I argue with them. You are too young and too less experienced in knowing what is actually happening in our workplace. See, as I have mentioned earlier, I am the secretary of my local union who is tired and unfulfilled. And I will always be reminded that with my age, I lack credibility and knowledge of what is fair and what is just for me as an employee. Sometimes I ask myself, why do I spend hours of work drafting open letters, appeals, and resolutions, and talk to our union members and listen to the board of directors? If I can just pick up my fishing rod and spend hours fishing in a river here in the province. But then I look at my parents. They too are employees. And during the start of their respective careers, social legislation was not that progressive. My mom told me that when she was starting as a licensed nurse, she continued volunteering for 3 years without pay. And most of her overtime work were without proper remuneration. I have seen my mom running to victims of an ambush when I was 6, risking her own life in order to save a mother and a child hit by bullets, and not receive a single penny as her hazard pay. That scared kid of a nurse who was not able to avail what is just and due to her back then is the very same person talking to you right now, and who is very much willing to campaign for the passing of a law improving the situation of nurses here in the country. You see, it all comes back full circle. Right now here in the Philippines, legislation is sought to be passed seeking the improvement of the welfare of the nurses in the country, most especially during this time of pandemic. And if we, youth members of our unions here in the Philippines, fail to support this campaign, then I am yet to see another scared child who will be scared for her mother, father, and siblings' lives while practicing the profession. 103 Filipino medical workers have already died due to COVID-19 virus. Brothers and sisters, this is what unions do. They aid in giving justice to what was once unjust. They magnify the voices of those who were unheard before, and they rally to make living socially fair. You may think that you may be too young to be a member and to be a leader of a union, but please be reminded that there is no age for being socially aware and relevant. In these trying times, we are all reminded that if we stay blinded and remain neutral to issues and problems in labor, no one will look after us. As I said, I am tired and unfulfilled, but there is so much more in life to be tired and unfulfilled for. Let that exhaustion be caused by something worth your energy, like learning and supporting the campaigns of your respective unions. And let your dissatisfaction fuel your drive to voice out what is fair and just to us employees, as I do mine. We look out for each other. You may be a youth in India, Indonesia, Malaysia, or anywhere else. But when we see what you do, we get inspired, we learn from it, and we do the same here in the Philippines. And hopefully you do too, young ones. Together with my fellow young unionists, we are excited when we hear achievements and strategies introduced by the youth in their respective unions, and we find means to replicate the practice here. I am very optimistic as regards the role of the youth in unions. When I first joined, I was the only one to have become a part of my union's board of directors. 2 years after JM, Jason, and Mark, 3 young unionists joined the board. We have become more involved, and we were able to share our insights with our seniors. Young members of our union saw that they have someone in the board whom they can easily relate to. And it is gratifying to see that at a young age, many youth have already embraced the responsibility. This pandemic brought a huge toll not only in organizing, but in all sorts of union activities. We supposedly have 4 municipalities to visit and 13 district hospitals scheduled for union symposium. As much as we want to go with the activity, we were denied such opportunity. Right now, we have no choice but to communicate through Zoom, Messenger, and phone calls to the 13 provincial and district hospitals in order to fast-track our campaign in the amendment of nursing law here in the country. Letting our union member feel, most especially the young hospital workers in our 13 hospitals in the province, constantly connected with us, makes them feel that we are in this fight with them for the betterment of their working conditions. Likewise, us, union officers, are convinced that this campaign will not go into waste, and eventually the proposed amendments will soon materialize. This is one of the causes unions stand for among many. And I call for every young mind out there to listen and to be more willing despite this pandemic, most especially this pandemic. Embrace the responsibility not only for yourself, but for others. Let us remind ourselves that we owe it to the past to make and campaign for just changes, and we owe it to the future by acting in making those just and fair changes possible. Brothers and sisters, don't let our respective unions fade and die. As youth, we are obligated to bring more life to it. Thank you and solidarity from the Philippines.
Thank you, sister. That was a very incredible story. And I think I really like when you mentioned about we are never too young to fight for our rights as workers, to unionize, especially in these times. So we have to be the generation, the one who achieve decent work for all. And now, brothers and sisters, let us hear one other inspiring talk that will be coming from Brother Subham, who is actually the youth organizer at Delhi State Electricity Workers Union, or DSEW Union, and youth titular for PSI Asia Pacific. But, brothers and sisters, unfortunately, last night we just had an info that Brother Subham cannot be here with us today because he has to lead a strike that is actually happening as we speak in his workplace right now, and attend the negotiation process with the management that is where his workplace is. However, we managed to get him to record his speech for today, and maybe we can also send our solidarity to Brother Subham. Without further ado, let us watch the video from Brother Subham, who is currently working on a strike to fight for the rights of the workers in Delhi. Brother Subham, we will play your video now.
Hello everyone, this side Shubham. I am a youth organizer for DSEW Union, which is called Delhi State Electricity Workers Union, which works for electricity sector. And I am also a young worker representative for India from PSI, and I am also a titular for young workers Asia Pacific for PSI. And today I'm sorry for that I am not available today to speak in front of you guys and take your questions and all, because I already told to the organizer that why I am not be available, because we have a strike today. We are organizing a strike which we will be planning from past 15 days. Past 15 days we have been working on this, and today we have it. So I am pre-recording this video for you guys. Like I am here to motivate you and tell you my story, that how I joined and why I joined, what is what a young worker can do in his union and for his sector or for his country and for his company. So I'm here just to tell you my story. I'm not a motivator. I don't know if you will get motivated, then that will be a excellent thing and best thing for me. If you don't, then I'm sorry for that. I'm not a motivator. I am just a unionist. I am a very young unionist. I am doing my work from my heart, for myself, for my people, and I'm just here to tell my story, and I'll not take your much time. I will not. If you people are interesting, or if you people are thinking that I'm a very experienced and very much old guy or something, I don't know. Sister Linda already mentioned that this is I am a youth worker and youth specific thing, and she also took my picture and she also put it in that poster. So I am not an experienced worker, but I had experienced things on ground level. So I am here just to explain my journey, why I became young worker, why I became a unionist, why I joined a union, how are the things, what are the difficulties I face, how are things can be so difficult for you being a unionist, how your family can face all these impact of being a unionist, and being young, your mind sometime tells you that don't do that, this is not the right thing, you are not for this. So all these things I think my journey will questions all of your things, all of your my journey will answer your all of your questions. So please bear with me for some time, and I'll definitely, I assure you that my journey and my whatever I will speak, they'll not make you bore. So I'll not take you much time. This was my introduction. My name is Shubham again. So I'm from India. I'll start my story from, like, I joined this company which is called as BSES, which is an electricity sector named as Bombay Suburban Electricity Supply. I joined it in 2015, and I was very young at that time. I was almost about like 23. So at 23 I joined this, and at 23 whatever income you get, you feel very satisfied because you have no responsibilities. You are a very young guy, you have your passion, you have to do whatever you can do with these salaries and all things, and you are very hardworking, very thing. So I was very happy with my job and my salary and everything. So I joined it in 2015, and then union people approached me that you should join a union, and I was like, with a how I know normal people react, like they also react like ki, we don't want to join a union, we are happy with our things, we are getting my salary, I am getting my salary on time, I am doing my work, I am so happy and all this, I don't want to join union. So but somehow in last, like when you got something, you got stuck something in your mind, and I don't remember exactly why I joined union, but I joined union in the very in the beginning of 2016. It was about 9 to 10 or 11 months after my joining, I joined the union, but I was not active, I was not at all active, I was not feeling something or anything about union. I was going my job, I was doing my job, I was coming to home, and I'm completely satisfied and happy. I have no regrets, no complaints to the management, to company, to anything. I was so happy. But there were things happened in 2016 when I need to know, I came to know about union, like how the bonuses are, because union is active and union is so strong, so that's why you are getting these bonuses and all that thing. So somehow I got active in union activities. So slowly and steadily I'm becoming from a member, just a member of a union, to a active member of a union. I became an active member. I started taking participation in union activities, to union meetings, to the strikes, to tool down, pen down things. I was not aware of this word tool down, pen down, but somehow I came to know about this thing, and these things worked very good and very well in the favor of workers, in favor of me particularly sometimes. So slowly and steadily I became so active, and I got an opportunity to attend a meeting of young workers, and that was a very first meeting I attended for PSI. So our union is affiliated to PSI, and somehow PSI was working on a project. DGB entered in that project, and DGB funded that project, and that project was for young workers, especially to strengthen the young workers, to make them a leader and all these things. So I got elected for that young workers representative, male, for India, and I got an opportunity to attend this meeting or this seminar in that Bhopal, I think. I don't remember exactly. Maybe it was Bhopal, and Dennis was with me. Dennis is, I think he will be in the meeting because I'm recording it a previous day. But if you're listening it today, Dennis is there. So Dennis was there with me, and Dennis knew how I was and what I became. So I was not that much active in these PSI meetings too. So I want to thanks the DGB. So because of their this project of for young workers, they gave us too much knowledge, too much thing, too much of training, that how you can change yourself, how can change your people, how can you unionize people, how can you become a leader. There were, I remember a question, I don't know in which meeting it was, because now I'm a like a regular in PSI thing and PSI meetings. So there was a question when the facilitator asked that how you can see these the leaders, the I don't know, old leader or like your senior leaders, how you can see them, you want them in your union, or you think that the young workers can take the union further, or you think that they both can be there. So there were these type of questions, and I was like, "Ki, why the people are asking these things?" Because in our union on that time, like 4 years ago, there was nothing like young worker thing. There were young worker, I think in my company 70% of people are young workers. 70% is like the maximum people are young workers. I think the working class is young. So I was like, "Ki, why? Yeah, this question is valid. Like, if they are talking about young worker, why we don't have young worker, active young worker with a position in upper senior management in union? Why they don't have young worker in that?" So these questions were like, they were like pinching in my mind, and somehow after that seminar, when we got the answers, like they DGB and all the PSI people, they gave you chance that you need to answer these questions, so you answer this. So everyone have their different opinions and different answers, then you got chance to know what other one is thinking, like how he is thinking. Okay, he is thinking in that way that young workers should get chance. Okay, he is thinking in that way that okay, senior leaders are doing well, young workers should follow them. And this one is thinking like okay, both have to go together, like young workers should also be in that union thing and senior leaders should be there. So this is just an example which I remember, like from day one after that seminar, that there is a need to change the perspective of senior leadership along. They should take along the young workers with them, so that the union can unionize in a very excellent way. So after that seminar, there used to be a task that you should go to your senior leaders and talk to them about seminar, what you felt, how you felt, what you learned, and what you missed there, and you should tell everything. So when I talked to my senior leader, he said ki okay, we will do this, and okay. So now I came to the major point, like from that point of time I was continuously attending DGBs. I think I am luckiest person that I was there when DGB's planning meeting was happened in New Delhi. I attended that meeting where all over Asians and South Asians, many countries were representing there, and I was part of there, and Sister Indra was also there. I remember her from there only. So I was part of that planning meeting, and in that meeting I was thinking they people are planning too much. I don't know if they will get this or not. I'm not here to tell you what happened in that meeting. I'm just telling you that these are small things, like if you are attending some meeting and you are ignoring that meeting, and you are thinking that okay, I just came here, my union sent me, and I'm okay, that these 3 days will pass and I'll go back. Nobody. If you are unionist and if you got opportunity to attend any of the meeting, if I'm feeling like this is not a good thing that I am not attending this thing, because I am only speaking. I need to learn from these senior leaders and experiences of these people who will be facilitating and who will be a speaker of this thing. They will just speak whatever they experience, whatever they face, so they will speak you that, and these things give you experience. So I'm just telling you a little bit of that meeting, that I was there in that planning meeting, and after that I got an opportunity last year in COVID time. We were facing too many problems, too many salary deductions, and you are not getting wages, and salary was not coming on time. Your PMS and PLI, which is a part of your salary and your salary structure, they are like deducting them. And then comes a pandemic, the COVID thing. So in January, we were planning to do something like to fight with our rights, to for our rights, and we want to have. So we planned too much, and one day I talked to my senior leaders and I said that we are planning this thing and we want to pursue that. So are you agreed? And he said, okay, if you are doing that thing, you young workers want to do it on yourself, you should do that. And he said that we will be there, but we will be in a supporting role. We are like behind. If you got whatever you want with your own self, then that's a very excellent thing. If you don't, then we are there. We will support you in each and every aspect. So on January 4th, I think, I arranged the meeting, a strike in front of our head office with our demands, which was like PMS. PMS is something which is called increment in a layman language, like increment. So we were not getting increment. We earlier we used to get 10, 12, 14% of increment every year, but in that particular from past 2 years we were not getting any increment, and first year we didn't get, and on the second year they said that pandemic is there and maybe you will not get increment. But in pandemic, we are like front line workers. We were working every day. I personally did 12 hours shift in a day, and I was like actively doing my work. I didn't deny to do my work. I was so much working. So we all are like, electricity sectors comes in frontline worker, because everyone is in their home and they want electricity. So we were like frontline workers, but they were not giving us increment and something like PLI, which is called incentive, which is part of our CTC. Like if you got a package of 10 lakh, then 10% of that is your PLI, which is called 1 lakh rupees, or whatever that amount comes. So that is like PLI for you, and they were not giving that thing. So I arranged, I along with my colleagues, with all young workers, we arranged a strike, and there was about 150 to 200 people, and that's a young worker strength, which is called JMC, Junior Management Cadre. I came under Junior Management Cadre, although I got promoted a day, though 2 days before, because in that also they played a political thing. They want to conflict my colleagues with me, like he got promoted and you don't. So I think they are planning like you should not take him as your leader, because he is not part of you now. He got promoted, but still I come under JMC. So JMC is Junior Management Cadre. So we arranged 150 to 200 people in this company, and this same company have a sister company, you can say. There we have 350 to 400 people. At the same time, on different head offices, we arranged a strike. We got and the company is very clever. From past 2 years we have HASMA is like Haryana Services Essential something, which is a law in Indian government. Like you can't be like together, or you can do strike, you can take bulk leaves, and this is a I can say, like it's a law, or it's something that imposed on workers to harass workers. So that was imposed from on us, on our company, from past 2 years, and till now, like today also, that HASMA is there in my company. So we were not we can't do strike because of that HASMA thing. So still, because we were so frustrated, so like we have nothing to do with HASMA, and we got, okay, yeah, let's do it. If something will happen, then we will see, and let's go there. So we arranged that strike. On that day we did that strike, and something happened, like they lodged a FIR against me along with my two colleagues, and the police came and they took us in their custody and all these things, and two of my colleagues got suspended on that day. I didn't somehow, but they didn't suspended me, but they suspended my two of my colleagues, and that was a very stressful day. And then there comes the thing when we need to call our senior leaders. We call them, they came there, and the whole people, the whole young workers, those were striking in front of our head office, they all did strike in front of police station. We were there in front of police, and police said, okay, we are not doing anything, we are not charging any complaint or any FIR against them, but still you need to be cautious, and we are taking one of our guy, he kept them with them till evening. They said, we will let him go in evening, we will not let him go now. So that was still cool with us. Our union leader talked to them, senior leaders, and they arranged this thing. So on the same day, we got a mail that, okay, you are getting your things, like whatever you demanded, they will get fulfilled. So we got success. We got success, but with our two colleagues got suspended. So we were worried about that. So management called these two colleagues another day, and they were in talk to them. And one of our colleague, he got like, management, they gave you every shock, every fear, like. So somehow one of our colleague, he got scared, and he apologized for his mistake, and he got again, he restrained. But one of our colleague, he said, I'll not apologize because I have did nothing wrong, everything was on you guys didn't paid us well on time, that's why we came here together, and I was not only one who was striking for you against you people, there were 200 people and 350 more. So if you want to lodge FIR, then you have to lodge FIR against these 550 or 600 people, but why you chose me? So he didn't apologize. So here comes the part of the senior leaders again, and we took it very in a positive way, and we were all together with him, and we said, okay, we will fight for you, we are together. Although we got our demands fulfilled, we got our money for which we were fighting, but still, because one of our colleagues got suspended, we were there standing in with him. And this matter, our union took this matter to High Court. We went to High Court, and you won't believe this thing, like this was another a boosting thing, and a very I would say like a very excellent thing which a young worker and everyone should know. The union, the money, the amount which the management sustained of that particular employee, our colleague, that was, I think, nearly 1.5 lakh. And the lawyers from management side were taking 15 lakh for that particular date. Like, they hired a very much experienced senior lawyers in front of our union, and our union was standing with a very not, we cannot say low level because he won the case at the end, but a very cheap lawyer who was just charging 5,000 rupees for that. And you won't believe that we won that case. The 15 lakh for 1.5 lakh rupees which the management have to give to that employee, they don't want to give that 1.5. That's why we filed a case, and they came with a 15 lakh rupees lawyer, the senior lawyers, and we hired a 5,000 rupees lawyer, and we won the case. And then we are still fighting that case, although so High Court ordered that you have to listen to him and you have to give all these proof that why he is wrong and all these things. But that was a win-win situation for us, because management somehow they know that they lost this case, and we are in a winning situation. So that's a very management is doing all, they are not giving us, they are not paying us because they want to earn money, because every private sector, the private player, he want to earn money. And I am being, if I would be a businessman, I would never hire a 15 lakh rupee lawyer for just amount of 1.5 lakh rupees. but management being management, they knew that if we won't be able to win from this guy, then they all will become rebel and they'll stand in front of us. So they hired a senior lawyer and our normal lawyer who just charged 5,000 rupees for that date, and we won that case. So that was again a very good achievement and a very boosting thing for us, and appreciation to all my colleagues and all the young workers who the thing is that they are not fighting for me or for other one, or they we all are fighting for us. I am fighting for me. I'm not fighting for all of them. I'm fighting for me. Because I'm fighting for me, they are my colleagues, so I am standing with them. I want to stand with them. I am standing with them. I will stand with them. I don't want to be a leader, but somehow you need people to follow you or follow something which is right, and that's why you need to be a leader. I don't want, but I have to be a leader. So that's why you, all the young workers who are listening to me, I am just, this isn't just an example. After that, again, after that one year pass, and again I am standing in the same situation. We didn't get paid for that, and from again we are fighting from last 15 days. We are regularly on strike with 50 people, with 150 people, sometime with 30 people also, sometime from 15 people also. So we are doing strike in every different offices, on every different management people, senior level, their lower level, every level we are doing strikes. And again we won. I talked to Sister Linda, and he was asking me for a short meeting to consult all these things, and I said her that I have a strike on the same day. And Sister Linda, I want to inform you from this video that we won that thing. We got our money back. We got our money on Friday. We got letters, and I got promoted in that letter also. But now the fight is why we are fighting today, because we asked them to give us the previous amount. Like they used to pay us, increment us 10, 12 and 14%, but this time they incremented us 5, 7 and 9%. And they said that this was a COVID time, and you need to stay with this. But that's okay. We are working in a company which we know that in COVID times everyone faced difficulty, but we are not fighting for this thing. We were fighting from past 2 years to rationalize, like to give in India. This is like a time where government employees are getting 7th pay commission. They are continuously, they have increment in their salaries, but we don't. And in 2018 and 19, still that 2018 and 19, when there was no COVID, the company didn't incremented us. They didn't give us any increment. So we are fighting for that, and this is the high time when the every young worker is so charged. They want to. This meeting was not arranged by me. This was I was not in this plan, and I was not agreed with this thing, because I was like, they paid us on Friday, and we need to think or to plan this. Whatever we need to do for a coming week, we should wait for a coming week, and then we will think what we need to do. We will discuss it with our senior leader. But somehow in those 2 days our young worker is so charged, and I thought that this is the great opportunity to take the leadership, and to take our people together and to do this fight for the sake of young workers, for the sake of me, for my children, for everyone's family. So we are doing these things. So today when you would be listening this video, I would be standing in front of my head office and doing strike and saying things. So here, this is my story. I don't know, maybe this was motivated or motivational or not, but I would love to hear your comments, Sister Linda, Sister Indra, Brother Dennis. You people are in this meeting, and if someone is appreciating me or questioning me or asking anything, so please, you guys can take their questions and ask me or tell me. I will try to communicate you in another time, like tomorrow or maybe day after tomorrow, because I think this meeting is for 2 or 3 days. So if it would be possible, I will be attending that meeting in that coming days, and I will surely tell whatever questions. I will surely try to answer all these questions and all these things. So again, I think I took too much of time. I was given only 20 minutes, and this video is already gone for 27 minutes. So if possible, if you want to cut, then edit or cut anything if you want, or whatever you feel like, but this was my experience. This was my thing. I want to tell, I want to express that at last, to all the young workers, just a little small message. The number one, please, whenever you join a sector or thing, go for a union. Ask if there is some union. If not, try to make some, and do join union. Maybe you are getting everything like me. I was getting everything at very first of my first year when I joined the institution. So maybe you will be getting something, but someday somehow, if you are working in a private sector or public sector, the government will never want you to grow, to you to earn. So please try to be a unionist. Always join a unionist. Always be a face. Don't want to be a leader, don't, but follow a leader. Be a unionist. Do something for you, for your people, for your company, for your country. Thank you very much again. Thank you so much everyone to listen, who listen to me. Thank you everyone. Have a great day in solidarity.
Brothers and sisters, please give a round of virtual applause and emojis reaction to both of our inspiring youth representatives. Young leaders are not only the leaders of tomorrow but also today, and that is very apparent in this session. I hope their stories can motivate more women and young workers to join the union. And speaking about organizing, about unionizing, about walking our talk, now there is something that we would like to show you. So brothers and sisters, we just got this from Brother Subham, who couldn't be with us today directly, but he sent us his solidarity message that he is now currently fighting with other young workers in his area to fight for their rights and to negotiate and to unionize for decent work for all. This is the kind of spirit, the kind of hope that we want to build from this conference. And as Brother Subham said before, in solidarity. We are all in solidarity with all striking young workers around the world. So once again, thank you, Brother Subham, for inspiring us, for walking your talk in fighting decent work for all. And thank you, Sister Marmel, as well, for delivering your very passionate story in trying to organize young workers in the Philippines as well. This is an amazing journey, amazing story that we shared, we exchanged today, and hopefully with all the youth representative that is present today. But sadly, it is the end of our session today. But brothers and sisters, before we close our event, I would like to ask every one of you to complete the feedback form. So you can click on the given link on the chat box, or just simply scan the barcode that appears in your screen that I'm pointing right now, and we will give you 5 minutes from now to complete the feedback form. Take your time. Thank you for your feedback, brothers and sisters. Finally, we have arrived at the very end of our session today. On behalf of the TURC and the team, I'm very thankful for all guests of honors and participants of this event. We can really feel the solidarity between us, and we must keep it this way. Tomorrow, we will have many other interesting agendas. There are some performances, and probably one of them is also from Women Workers Representative, and another panel session, of course, about gender and youth responsive trade unionism. Brothers and sisters, you may notice that you can join us in the same link of this meeting room with the same time tomorrow. To close this event, brothers and sisters, let us have a photo session. Brothers and sisters, you may open your camera and video now and wait for the committee representative to screenshot the pages. Now we will start from the first page of the meeting. Have you all opened your cameras? Is everyone ready? Yeah, one by one, we are seeing all the faces. Yes, all the smiles. That's right. Keep it up. Okay. I think everyone is almost ready. Yes? Okay. The first page. The picture of each page twice. Now the first page. In 1, 2, 3. Okay. Still, the first page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now moving on to the second page. And if you want also to show solidarity, like Brother Subham, please do so. Okay, second page. 1, 2, 3. Again, 1, 2, 3. Very well. Brothers and sisters, that marks the end of our session today. Thank you for coming, for exchanging your solidarity, for being here with us. Even though we are not face-to-face physically, but we sure feel the hope and solidarity between workers all over the world today. And brothers and sisters, see you tomorrow.